Alright, so hello guys and welcome back to another class of our course about Excel. So until now your database should look something like this. As I told you in the past course, we did the first part here and you were supposed to complete everything. So you were supposed to have all the data required to be able to continue our course. Alright, so in this course our main goal is really to build up a database, to build up a dashboard with all the data that we have. To be able to do it, the first thing I'll ask you guys to do is simply go at the end of all this data and we'll create a small table that will look like this. So the first thing you will need to have, you can just copy what I created here. First thing I'll ask you to do is simply merge the cells. So it's two cells by, the same number of cells that is here. So it's around 12. So 2 by 13. 2 by 13 cells. That's the first step. When it's done, simply write down the 5 names. It'll be total hours worked, total income, total commission, total weekly income, and finally the total amount of sales. So after that, when you guys are done, what we will do is simply fill everything. So the first thing we'll add here is the number of this person. So for example, in this case, it's the person number 1, so we'll simply write down, we'll make a reference to the number 1. So we'll not write down 1 because if, for example, the number here changed, we don't want the reference to change. It's very important to be able to create our dashboard. So as I said, you simply click on equal and you go and write down 1. So you just make a reference to the cell number 1. Next step, we'll be calculating the total hour worked. So in this case, we have this cell, which have the number of hours worked for the past week. So we'll simply take this cell and make an addition of this cell plus the cell right here, which both are total hours worked. So for 2 weeks, the first person worked 78 hours. The next question that we will have to answer is the total income. So in this case, the total income of the person is the same calculation. So we'll do the weekly income number 1 plus the weekly income number 2, and we'll have the weekly income of this person. Next question, we'll calculate the total commission. So it's gonna be the exact same thing. So very simple. You can simply click on equal and make the exact calculation. So it's gonna be an addition. Here we go. So as you can see, guys, we have all our calculation. Finally, the total weekly, for 2 weeks income. So it's gonna be the total 2 weeks income. In this case, will simply be the total commission paid plus the total income. When it's all done, you guys are supposed to have an answer as well. So it's equal, it's the exact same thing that making an addition of the 2 weeks income. Next thing we want to calculate is the total amount of sales. So it's very simple. We will simply make a sum of all the total sales made for the first week plus the sum of all the sales made the second week. Here we go. So as you can see, guys, this is our total amount of sales for our first employee. So as you can see, you're supposed to have something like this. The next step will really be to do this for all our employees. And at the end, it should give you something that looks like this. So as you can see, you have the whole tab there. So as I said, you have the whole tab here, and that you're supposed to have an answer like this. So simply, you can't copy and paste, you'll have to do it manually. So simply pause the video and do the exact same thing that we did on the first step here for all the 10 employees. All right, so when it's all done, the next step will be to go on the database. So simply open up a new sheet. So you can click on new sheet and you can open up on your new sheet, you will create something that should look like this. So it's very simple. What we'll do now is we will calculate 4 things on our dashboard. The first will be the total sales made, The second will be the total sales paid, so the total salaries paid, so how much salary have been paid in total per employee. And the last step will be, the two last things will be return on investment per employee. So we will calculate how much an employee have of a return on investment. And finally, the number of hours worked per employee. All right, so how we'll do this? The first thing that I'll ask you guys, you just finished this, we need to transfer this data in a small database here. So we'll create ourselves a small database because working with the two sheets will take a lot of time. So instead of this, I'll ask you guys to create yourself a small database here. So how we'll do this, it's very simple. We will have to import this data on this sheet. So first thing we'll do is simply copy everything that we have here and paste it there. So of course you'll need the space to do it. All right. So you'll have something like this. What I'll suggest you to do is simply put it in one cell instead of two cells. It's gonna be more pretty and it's gonna take a lot less place. All right. So when you guys are done, you can simply delete this part right here. All right, when it's done, next step, as I said, will be to import all the data right here. So it's gonna take you a bit of time once again, but you'll see it's gonna take way less time than simply work with the database itself from the other page. Right, so how do we import data? Very simple. First of all, here we'll have the ID of our employees. So our ID, you simply click on equal, you come back on sheet number 2, click on this, and here we go, you have imported the ID. Next, the total hours worked, same thing, the total income, the total commission, then the total weekly income plus commission, and finally the amount of sales. So I just did the work for the first employee, then you will have to do it for all the employees until 10. So for this, in this case, it should give you something that looks just like this. So as you can see, you have a small database like this. So you can pause once again the video and create your own database. So as you can see, it's all referred to the sheet right here, and you will need to create, everything, pass everything from here there. Right, so when you guys are done, the next step will be to add all this data in our database. So the first question that we want to answer will be the total sales made. So first thing, we will need the ID of our employee. So how we'll do this, we'll simply write equal, and we will make a reference of this cell to this cell. So as you can see, we have number 1. We'll do the exact same thing for all the numbers. All right, when it's all done, the next thing to import will be the total sales made. So in this case, it's gonna be the total sales, which is here. So we'll do the exact same thing right now for the total sales. And after that, the next thing to do will simply be to create a graph with all this data to be able to see perfectly what is the difference between all the data and all this stuff. All right, so we have all our data. As I said, the next step will be to create a graph to see who is the best seller here. So we'll click on insert and we'll create a graph that looks very simple to understand. So as you can see here, we have our graph. We can add $sign here. Perfect. So right now we can understand that the ID of the employee number 1 did this amount of sale. And each time we refresh the page, once again, it will automatically adapt. So as you can see, so we can automatically see that the best seller here is the employee number 9. All right. The next thing that we want to do is look at what's the salary paid by each of the employees. So we'll do the exact same thing, but right now we can just copy and paste everything there. Don't forget, once again, to be able to do the copy paste, you will need to lock your cells. So you can just lock your cells on your first place where you enter data, and then simply copy and paste it everywhere. Once again, I'm talking only for the IDs of employee, because the second part you will have to import it manually once again. Right, perfect. So as I said, simply copy and paste everything. When it's all done, the next step will be to integrate all the total salary paid, which in this case will be the total income for the 2 weeks. So you will have to do the exact same thing. You will have to import everything manually. But once again, it's done only once. And then after that, you can use all this data. Well, you can change it. For example, you have a business or you want to add some new data instead. You can do it. But the part of app creation is only done once. Perfect. So we'll do the exact same thing here. We'll select everything and we'll create another graph of all this. Just did a small mistake. All right, perfect. Here we go. All right, so as I said, we'll create a graph. So simply select all the data that you have and go on insert. We'll insert once again another graph, something that looks similar. So right now we have 2 things that looks great in our, as I said, dashboard. So right here, dashboard. Here we go. Amazing. All right, so as I said, we have 2 things on our dashboard. We have until now the total salary paid and the total sales made. So we can directly see how much salary have been paid for each employee ID and how much, well, have been the total sales. Next step will be to calculate the return on investment per employee. In this case, how we calculate it is very simple. We'll divide the total salary paid by the total sales made, and we'll receive a number, and the higher the number, the better the employee is. So it's a good way to be able to evaluate our employees. So as I said, we take our total sales made and we divide it by the total salary paid. So as you can see, we have 3.02, which is not that bad. We can copy and paste everything. And the greatest number here is our greatest employee because it has the bigger return on investment. So in this case, it's the employee number 1. What we can do here to be able to know which number is the the biggest one, we can simply use condition formatting. We can add, so once again, colors. So as you can see, the best employee is the number 1, the worst is the employee number 10. And we can simply refresh the page and we can automatically see it with the condition formatting. Next step to do, as I said, is add on a chart. So we can add on a chart here. Here we go. So we have our chart just there. And the last thing to do will be to add our number of hours worked. So I'll do this with you guys. So it's the exact same way. We'll have to import the hours worked manually. So as you can see, we have a pretty much complete dashboard, and the hours of the employee in this case are the same because we didn't add the random values to employees. But if you are interested, you can change the values of hours and it's still going to work. All right, so here we go. We have all our hours work. Last thing is to add a graph. So once again, you can add up your graph, sorry. Here we go. So we have our graph here. So as I said, all the employees have worked the same amount of time because we didn't change it. All right, so right now we have our completed dashboard. As you can see, we have the dashboard that is here. We have all our data that is in the dashboard. We can automatically understand all the data. And each time we refresh the page, well, since it's random values, all the data will adapt, except for the number of hours worked. Since it's not random value, well, it's gonna stay the same. So that's amazing. Until now, as you can see, we have our complete schedule that is here. It's we have all the hours worked. We have how much sales have been made, the total commission paid. We have all the salaries that are here. We also have, well, all the grand total here. And finally, the dashboard is there. So we have one last thing to do, and we'll do this in the exact next class, which will be the paper sheet that we can print to give to our employees, and it's gonna be automatically generated. So that's it for this course, guys, and see you all in our next class.